Hi, Stella. Right. Anyways, I'll get into it. Um, and if anyone else joins, they can just join in, right? So when when things get hard, right? That's going to be one of the topics. Ooh, my pen's working. When things. Sorry about this. If it works, but it works. Yeah, hard, right? And is it going to work? It hasn't came up on the screen. All right, that's okay. I'll try one more time. Very build-ups. 1 second. So what happens when I try to be fancy?
Yeah, it'd be too technical.
Um, all right, it's better. All right, when things get hard, excuse
Cool.
my bad handwriting. It's already bad, and it's even harder to write on an iPad. So, oh, we got one more. Stella's back again. Crazy. Okay, and it's almost that we want it too much that it creates this like toxicity, right? Creates this toxicity, and it's almost that we start getting negative. And it's really important that we, recognize this and to stop ourselves, because if it's sometimes when things have met too much in my head, I kind of like psych myself out of it. So it's important just to, okay, yeah, it's important to me, but I'm just going to go with the flow and just create it in a positive place, right? And that's why meditation is really effective, because if you practice meditation, you learn how to control your thoughts. Okay, I can feel my mind drifting away. I'm going to come back to it. It's drifting away, drifting away. I can come back to it. And then you can actually control your thoughts. And then you can actually catch yourself and say, oh, actually, I'm being negative. I need to stop being negative, right? And the thing I want to talk about is, right, time, right? Time. Like, how much time do we actually have left, right? We don't have, like, our time in this world is limited, right? The average age, if we're lucky, is probably 80, right? 80 years old is the time that we have. And it's really important that we look at this seriously, be like, okay, like, how am I going to live my life and what am I going to invest to? And as well, if we don't take care of our health and fitness, this time of the 80 years can go low and low and low. So it's it's really, creating those good habits and rituals and having the power to say no to people so we can actually move forward and do the things that we need to do. And especially with moms, they're so quick to put themselves on the back burner because they're so busy taking care of everyone else, right? So really important, invest in yourself and just be aware and not let yourself go into old habits, throw it on the rug and just, I'll deal with it later. We have to make those times, even if it's 30 minutes for ourselves, to do 30 minutes to do the things that we want to do. It'll all add up, right? Like I said, 1% better after 100 days, we're 100% better, right? And the thing is that, a lot of people, and especially in the fitness industry and the weight loss industry, they make it sound so easy. Take this shake, take this magical unicorn weight loss pill or whatever, but it doesn't work like that. It's actually really, really hard. It's really hard, and sometimes we're going to stuff up and we're going to feel like giving up, right? But the thing is, right, that anything worth having, you have to struggle, right? It's not so much about getting to the result. Yeah, the result is really nice and stuff, but actually the process, the person that we have to become to actually get there, that's what's important. Oh, just 1 second. That's what's important. The process, the person that we have to become to climb the mountain and get there and put our flag in. But it's not about putting the flag in, it's about going up the mountain. Um, and yeah, it's really interesting people's like perspective, right? Like remember there'll be two types of people if I've achieved any goals, and there'll be some people that be congratulating me, and some that would be like, oh, it must be nice, like, oh, it must be nice, or like, or they'll find little digs into like to be able to put you down, right? And it's really important that we choose the right environment and the right type of people, so we so we don't fall into that trap, and not to be victims of our own circumstances, right? Not to be victims and be victors. Instead of blaming, we can take ownership, or instead of blaming or creating stories, we have to take ownership. Okay, this is what happened, but I'm not going to let it happen again. And it seems to be like how we do one thing is how we do all, because if we start becoming victims of our circumstances with our health and our fitness, we'll go into other aspects of life, right? Like into to relationships, into work, into money, into friends, to anything, right? How we do one thing is how we do all, right? So it's really, really important that we take ownership, and ownership equals freedom, and then discipline also equals freedom. So ownership and discipline is great, and then eventually we'll be free. And people use discipline as that it's like, oh, discipline is so bad, like it's like a bad word. It's like we can't say that word, but the thing is, if we're actually disciplined to our health and fitness goals, or to any goal, like whatever it may be, eventually we'll be free. Because the reason why we want to achieve something or change is at the present time we're in pain, and we want that to be um, changed with pleasure, and that's how we're going to get there, is through discipline, right? And it's really important to manage our triggers, right? Manage our triggers throughout. Like, for example, if we're not taking care of our health and fitness, it's going to be a lot more easy to get triggered out of little things, and all of a sudden, we're taking it out on, like, people we care about, or like our partners or our kids or family members. So it's really important that we have to manage our triggers to be the best that we can be, in all areas of life. It's like, you've had a long day, things have maybe not gone your way at work, it's been a shit day, especially if you don't have the right nutrition. You're going to be, it's way more easier to snap, right? We've all felt that you've kind of had a bad day, and maybe you got home and you said something you shouldn't have. And if you have the awareness to stop yourselves, and if you're fueling yourself with the right type of fuel, it all comes together really, really good, right? And just remembering that we always have a choice. We have the choice in all matters, right? So we have a choice on our nutrition, exercise. We have a choice of our thoughts. We have a choice of what we say, the words that we use, language that we use. Like I was talking in my post today, right? My post on the RAS, right? The reticular activation system. And a lot of people say that, a lot of this mindset stuff is airy fairy. But the thing is that the truth about it is, like, our brain is always listening, and whatever we tell ourselves, we're going to do, right? Subconsciously, we're going to do. So if we tell ourselves that we can do something, that'll be our reality. And if we tell ourselves we can't, that'll also be our reality too. So even when I tell clients, they make like little jokes about themselves, like they call themselves, ha ha ha, like, I ate pizza last night. Oh, I'm a naughty, ha. Like, and they're trying to make a joke about it. I'm like, actually, it's really, really bad that you're making a joke about it, because you're letting yourself off the hook, and you're trying to make humor from it. So, and then you tell your brain that that's actually okay, that it's okay to make it a joke, that it's funny to be fat. Like, I used to be like, oh, like, I'm the funny fat one, right? That was what I always, used to say, and I used to find it cool if I could eat more than my friends and stuff, and because that was who I was the chubby funny guy. But it's not funny, and by laughing, if the old saying, if you don't laugh, you cry. And I chose to laugh, but that only lasted for so long, and in the long run, it really, really hurted me. And just being really aware that, when we are in a frustrated place, or if we get frustrated, or we're about to give up or anything, just pulling ourselves up, right? Oh, I'm thinking this way, I'm feeling this way. Why? Like, ask yourself in like high level questions, like, why do I feel this way? What's going on? What's led to this? Okay, how can I get out of this? Like the other day, we last week, half the week wasn't the greatest week, and the other was really like half the week was really bad, and the other half was really good. But it was only when I went on a walk onto the beach and took my dog and just reflected and thought instead of being emotional about it with logic, right? And that's what's really good. Like, you know, like our emotions are fleeting all the time. We're going to have goods and bads. And just remembering that it's only for a shorter period of time. When we're feeling like it's bad, if we can just manage to ride the wave until it goes back up again and really feel the good times. Because like emotions fleeting, and the most important thing is data. All right, the data is the most important thing. That's tell us where we're going, but also not being. There's always two edges, right? We've got the data, right, which is the facts, but we can't get too emotional about the data, right? So just knowing that it's just feedback. I was talking to one of our clients today, Paula, and she's lost 19 kilos. And I said, Paula, so Paula lost 19 kilos, right? What am I doing? 19 kgs, right? And that's Paula, right? And I was just like, okay, so is this thing in the way? I hope not. That's a bit awkward. If it was, sorry, Tim. So if it was 19, she's lost like 19 kilos. And I said, what are the most, like, the best things about double digit coaching that helped you? And she said, the support, right? Support was really good. And just random advice, right? Telling her about the scales, right? And she said the best thing she did at the start was actually throw out the scale and start taking measurements, because the scale was going up and down, and it was actually the motion was built. The motion was actually built by the scale. So that's when the scale needs to go, and we need to find something else. We need to do measurements. We need to do like, how does my clothes feel? Oh, I can fit into that old pair of jeans again. Like I feel really good about that. And by doing that, it really helped her. But it's about not getting too emotional about the data, but see the data of what it is, just a tracking tool. And then, okay, this is what happened. All right. Instead of giving up, be like, okay, well, maybe I just need to try something different. Maybe I just need to do this, and that. You know, and yeah, and by doing this, it'll really help you along that journey. And you know, if you're having a tough day or things aren't going that well, or as I call it, like a storm, that taking that step back and just breathing, whatever it may be. It could be like, you know, before you get in, 2 minutes in the car, just breathe, just don't think of anything, or just reflect on how your day is going, and just be able to breathe before you go inside and have to deal with everyone. It's really important to even take 2 minutes of yourself to gather everything together and just to calm down. Sometimes, you know, when we get upset, you know, if we get angry or whatever, I remember I was always like I was a very angry child. And then my mom would be like, okay, just go for a walk, John, and you'll feel better. And I'll go for a walk and I'll come back and I'll feel better. And sometimes we have to do that when we're frustrated with our health and fitness journey, or just frustrated in general. Just go for a walk, change your state. And by then you'll change your thinking. And especially if it's exercise, the endorphins get released, and you'll feel really, really good. And then by doing that, you'll be better for yourself and everyone else, right? And if you're not, one of my favorite quotes, if you're not happy with your current situation, move. You're not a tree. I found that really funny, that quote. That's why I posted it. But it's really true. So just looking to change. Cool. And then, yeah. So, and it's really important, like something I also want to touch on is that, like, you know, all we have in this world is our word. Like, our word is our bond, right? And so many people these days, they don't stick to their word. And I feel like it's a problem that in society, when if you say you're going to do something, do your best to do it. So if you say that, you know, I'm going to lose 10 kilos, let's say, for example, that's your word, that's your bond. we have to pull it off. But so many people I've talked to over the phone, time and time again, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then they sign up to Double Digit Coaching, and then 2-3 weeks later, I don't hear from them. I'm messaging them, they're not replying, and I think that's really bad. So like, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Your word is your bond, and all you have in this world is your word. And that's like, that if you say, if you're going to do something, really do it. Like I saw an alarming, and I feel like the problem is instant gratification. Instant gratification. It's easy that if you're not feeling okay, have a lolly or have a chocolate bar. That instant gratification. But putting in the work is hard, but in the long run, you're going to be a lot better. It's like smokers when they're stressed. Oh, I'll just have a cigarette. I'll have a cigarette. Yes, in the moment they feel unstressed, but in 10 years' time, their health is jeopardized because they've ruined their lungs. And it's really important to focus on the long game. What's going to actually help me in the long term? Or even in marriages. I heard something like alarming today that 80% of marriages in New Zealand end in divorce. I just heard it from my coach today, and I was just like, wow. So in all areas of life, I feel like it's really important that if we say that we're going to do something, we should really do it with 110% and follow through. And yeah, so that is that. So is everyone on mute? Can anyone talk?
I have no idea. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Everyone.
I think I'm unmuted now.
Hello. All right.
Yep, I'm unmuted according to this.
No one can talk.
I was going to say, I can hear you. And I can hear Lisa giggling every now and again.
You can hear me. I can hear you.
Yeah, John just can't hear us.
John can't hear us.
Yeah. All right. Another chat. Okay. Stella.
Yes.
Oh, that's why. Okay, 1 second. Oh, now I can hear you guys. I was trying to do something fancy.
We could hear each other. You just couldn't hear us.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sure, you guys could have made fun of me together.
Yeah.
Probably deserve it. Awesome. So now for that part, is there any takeaways from that? Anything I said?
I think the big one for me was just like we talked about today. It is doing that, being able to do the reset, and push stop, and then just push restart again, but staying focused. But yeah, I think it is in a world like today, after my first day back at work after 4 weeks, I can definitely vouch for your word is all you've got.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's having the trust in other people to remember that, hang on a minute, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. So it is hard, but it's just making sure that you live up to your expectations, and commit to doing what you want to do. I think is the biggest one for me.
100%. That's good. That's good. Lisa, any takeaways?
I guess the same thing. The reset. If you've had a bad day, just take some time out and to refocus.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I used to get like really emotional about it, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't work, like, and then I'd quit for like a month, and then I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
and then I'll be like, I've put on all the weight I've lost and even more, and I'm like, oh, well, this is not ideal.
Yeah.
So, like, the faster we can recover, like, the better it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So, and now I want to touch on. I'll put my little fancy iPad back on. Hopefully, you can hear me. 1 second. Nope, I don't want to connect it to the TV upstairs. That'll be not helpful.
You can watch Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Julie would be upstairs watching Netflix. I mean, and she's like, "What did you do?" All right. Cool. So it's really important just with like calories. I just want to clear some things up when it comes to it. So let's say like use MyFitnessPal or you use whatever the app is, and it spits out your calories recommended amount. And let's say it says 2,500, right? And that's quite a lot of food, right? 2,500 calories, even though it says based on your weight, your height, your age, your gender, that's how much you should be eating. But probably your metabolism won't be matching that, right? Because of just life, or maybe you've done a few diets before, and your metabolism, every time you stop a weight loss journey, your metabolism gets affected. You can get it okay again, back to normal, but it takes time. And let's say if your metabolism is at 1,500 calories, right? So that's you. So that's all. And how we find that out is kind of through trial and error. What I've noticed is that, let's say all you can eat is 1,500 calories, right? And so what we'll do is we'll be like, okay, sweet. Let's see how you do with 1,500 calories, and then we'll decide. So sometimes a good amount is about 300 calories deducted after a while, or just 100. And depending on client to client, I think differently, but even 100 is fine because that's kind of slow and steady. So if we take 100 away, we see what's going on. Okay, so it's been for the first 3 weeks we've lost weight at 1,500, let's say, for example. Okay, that's cool. We're going to go down to 1,400. That's going to last for 2 weeks, let's say. Then, I don't know, 4 weeks later, we're like, okay, cool. Well, that worked for a bit. We're going to go down to 1,300, and then so on and so forth. But let's say we get to 900, and we're like, okay, calories are getting really low, right? So what we do is we go back up, right? And we keep going back up, all the way up, right? All the way up back to 1,500, and we see what happens. And as long as we're not putting on weight, we're good. And even maybe we can go up to 1,600, 1,700, or whatever. And then when we hit a place where you're not putting on weight, then we can go back down again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we diet down and then we diet back up, and so we can go back down again.
Yeah.
But what everyone does is like this. And then what happens?
Yeah. They fail.
Yeah, it goes, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on 200 calories until Christmas. And then what happens? They do that for 2 weeks, if that, and then they'll go back up to 4,000 because they starve themselves. They want all the greatest, the favorite foods, whatever it may be. And let's say at the 200, they were, I don't know, let's say 120 kilos, right? then they lost, in that 2 weeks' time, they lost 4 kilos, right? But because of this, right, in another 2 weeks, they'll probably be 125.
Yep.
And then it's going to keep on going up and up and up and up. Because their metabolism's affected. They've starved themselves, and all they want is to eat all the deep fried stuff that is super calorie dense. So yeah, cool. Awesome. So that's today's coaching session. I hope that little the nutrition stuff helps. So we won't be having group sessions next week.
I
And
should be on your honeymoon.
yep, I'll be in Queenstown. Yeah. So yeah, I'll get in trouble if I'm doing Zoom calls in the hotel room. Like, all right, guys.
Yes.
I'm keeping my word. 9 p.m. every Monday.
You will become one of the quickest in those statistics if you do that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we want to avoid that. So yeah, but we'll probably the week after I'll just move it to a Tuesday. So cool.
That's all right.
Thank you, team. I appreciate you all joining us. And let's keep it going. Before we go, I talked to you, Stella. Lisa, how's everything going on your end? Are you all good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I did have I just had a bit of a down sort of weekend, but it didn't affect my eating. I just felt a bit, down. So, but yeah, back up good now.
Oh, that's good. Happens, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, get tired and over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good work. Good work. You didn't let it affect your goals, so proud of you.
No, just didn't do any exercise, but that's fine. I needed a rest.
Yeah, that's all good. Awesome. All right, team. Well, thank you for joining, and I'll see you all very soon.
Cool. Thanks, John.
Bye, team.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.